Madam Clerk, could you please call roll?
Reeve Emo.
Present.
Councillor Legree.
Present.
Councillor McWhorter.
Present.
Councillor McDonald.
Present.
Councillor Sobalski.
Present.
Councillor Andrew Dick. Reeve Emo, we have quorum.
Thank you. Prior to starting the meeting, I'd like to acknowledge that we did receive a note from Councillor Andrew Dick about not being able to be present. He provided us with documentation for that, and with that, his name will not be announced on the roll going forward. As we gather, we would like to acknowledge on behalf of Council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. And we're extremely grateful for their many continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Could you please stand for O Canada? Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we'll move down through to C.3.2, Departmental 2025 Q3 Quarterly Report, and the CAO will precede us.
Thank you, Reeve. So in our Q3 report, I'm proud to be able to share about the continued progress that the departments have been making in regards to the corporate work plan for the year. There's been several key items that have happened over the last 3 months, including the Renfrew Public Library has been advancing their own strategic plan update through stakeholder engagement and public consultation. Community and recreation services have been progressing and growing partnerships with external organizations, nonprofits, volunteers, and improving efficiency with technology improvements with a new booking and registration system. Development and environment have been progressing the official plan review and submitting revised landfill contours for environmental compliance. Finance and corporate services have been implementing new financial software and preparing the 2026 budget. Fire and emergency services have been updating their emergency response plan and launching a business continuity strategy. Legislative services have continued the rollout of the Strong Mayor legislation and modernizing records and marriage licensing. Communications and engagement have been developing their 2026 communication strategy and expanding sponsorship opportunities. And I am proud to say that we've been continuing with updating and reviewing the policies of the town, and we have gone through 9 policies in the last 3 months. There's several departmental updates that have been noted. You'll see them in my summary report as well. Each of the directors will be summarizing them when we get to them. I want to assure everyone that as we move into our Q4, our focus does remain on delivering high-quality services, preparing for our winter operations, which winter is now upon us, our 2026 budgeting continuation, and finalizing strategic plans that will guide us into our 2026. I extend my gratitude to our staff, council, and the community partners for their continued dedication and collaboration. So the first department that is up for detailed review is the Community and Recreation Services and Library, and subject to the Reeves okay, I will pass it over to Director Latondras.
Sure, that's perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, through you, Reeve. So just to summarize some of the points in our review, under the department activities, the library, again, as noted by the CAO, partnerships have continued through outreach and collaboration, including ESL sessions with the Lanark and Renfrew Settlement Services, outreach with on-track employment, visits to Quail Creek, Boneshire Manor, and Groves Park. Besides the TD Summer Reading Program, children's programs included Early On Storytime and the BIAC Dental Program. And in the adult department, the Golden Growth Project has advanced with Replanting Day and a seed saving workshop, and promoting for December's creative writing workshop with author Michelle Vinette. Just to note that Renfrew Library submitted a nomination for the Public Library Awards for the Minister's Award for Innovation for its Golden Growth Project, and since this report we have found out that we've been shortlisted for that award, so we'll find out in January, February how that goes. The museum, the focus for the summer of 2025 was enhancing programming and visitor services. The staff piloted Saturday at the Mill programming for every Saturday in July and August, and also a new gift shop. Besides this, they also expanded the area dedicated to visitor information services. The museum also joined a cohort with Bloomberg Connects to develop a digital guide to enhance the visitor experience and provide access to other collections that may not be as easily accessible. Economic development, the town garage replacement has been rewarded, and work began and is continuing with developers and CBRE on surplus properties. Community services saw several large events take place, including a full day of Canada Day celebrations and summer day camp. They had 8 weeks of summer day camp at the MyFM Centre, which were led by our 6 summer students. Also ran a drama camp with the Ottawa Valley Theatre kids, ringette and hockey camps with Next Gen Hockey, and soccer camp with Challenger Sports. They partnered with Mad River Company for monthly guided paddles, and with 13 First Aid for first aid, babysitting, and stay safe programs. We also maintained garden plots at Oddfellows Park, and demand remains high with a wait list for 2026 plots. Recreation operations had a busy summer and early fall, so besides all the normal maintenance in parks and outdoors, they also assisted with all of the major events, including Canada Day, the Bernadette McCann's House is Run Like a Kid, and then ice was installed on both arenas between July 25th and August 4th, and return of Junior A and Junior B hockey in August. So there's been lots going on there. Under key statistics, just a couple of note, the library had 190 new library patrons added during this quarter, 13,509 physical items, and 6,503 e-resources circulated. The museum, the year-to-date number for attendance is up to 2,131, which is a 26% increase over last year. Community services, there is actually, I neglected, I think, to add a number there, but it was, we had 260 registrations over 8 weeks. So 260 children participated. And then in rec operations, you can see all the different fob swipes and memberships, and our facilities. There was a total of 6,102 hours booked out in our facilities. Under strategic plan and corporate plan progress, as the CAO noted, the library is continuing to advance through their strategic plan initiative, and hoping that we will have a final plan in Q4. Economic development, the roof replacement of the one section at One Innovation Drive is completed. Community services, their ongoing initiatives included a volunteer fair, which ran October 28th from 3 to 7. It's the first one that we've tried to run, and it seemed to go quite well, so we're hoping next year to continue that. Under the look ahead, the library continues to strengthen community connections by enhancing presence at local events, including Freaky Friday, the Community Volunteer Night, Light Up the Square, and the Renfrew Parade. In October, November, the museum was winterized already and is continuing to work with the Bloomberg Connects project. Economic development continued to work with real estate firms to look at our surplus land, and the acoustic panels are actually almost complete as of this point, so they will be complete in Q4. Community services, event planning, they prepared and executed events including the Craft Beer and Food Truck Festival, the Community Volunteer Fair, helped with Freaky Friday, and they will be helping with Light Up the Square, the Santa Claus Parade, and Free Year's Eve. They're also continuing to roll out fall programs and planning the winter program guide. The operations, arenas and rooms once again in full use, and other projects are now underway, including outdoor fencing at the Kelly Homes lobby entrance, phase 1 of the Mattaway outdoor power supplies, and the renovation of flooring in the recreation fundraising hall. Working group and team updates. The library saw a new student Paige join our team in September. And then we had our summer student conclude her position after a really successful summer of programming. The museum is going to be drafting a museum policy for council's consideration, and will also be presenting a draft plan for the Veterans Banner project on Veterans Memorial Boulevard. Community services, so the booking and registration software, ActiveNet is now, it went live as of September 2nd. Staff is still learning all the ins and outs, but it's a good system so far. And with the Community Service Department back to full staff with 3 part-time CSRs, they will be reopening the office on Sundays beginning in January. Recreation operations hosted a Working at Heights course, so the majority of staff are now certified. They had 4 summer students over the summer who gained some great experience. And on August 13th, we held a user group meeting to meet with representatives from all the different groups to discuss what's working, what wasn't, and how we could further assist. So it went really well. That's everything for me. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, we have, I believe, development property, or development environment, sorry.
Close enough. Thank you, Reeve. Just a quick comment. I really appreciate the KPIs on the exercise, the fitness equipment, the 345,000 revolutions for the exercise bikes, the 478,000 strides on the elliptical machines. I mean, why not? It's great. Actually, very impressed that we count that. Development environment. So we've been hard at work in the basement on the records management side, going through old boxes to try to find some space in our basement storage area. We've had staff downstairs weekly undertaking that task together with Director Bishop's team, and of course there are others working down there as well. The 2026 capital and operating budget, so before October 1st, hard at work on that. Sorry, is this mic got an echo? Is it good? Okay, all right. Moving a number of developments forward, working on heritage along with Glenn in regards to heritage work plan and evaluating a few candidate properties at Millionaire's Corner. That'll be coming forward tonight. Working on draft fence bylaw, downtown seasonal encroachment policy update, a number of ongoing legal matters. The seasonal closure of the household hazardous waste depot, and we did submit the landfill environmental compliance approval for the revised final contours within the corridor. That's going to kind of set the stage for addressing the steep waste slopes at the site. Some nice renderings. We've been kind of doing a bit of a time lapse of the shoppers in our reporting. So you can see the exterior building envelope is in place, interior framing. terms of building, 69 permits, about year-to-date 70 permits for the year, $11 million in construction value, $100,000 in permit fees, $92,000 in development charges. Generally seeing a return to pre-COVID levels. The year-to-date numbers, I think they'd be full year numbers for the previous years, but I think we're going to come in fairly close to what we were seeing around kind of 2020 and previous. And we're kind of back on trend. We did have some fairly significant years when money was inexpensive. In terms of planning, zoning applications, a couple CIP applications, we continue to administer a number of consent site plan subdivision and a zoning bylaw amendment application. There's a rendering on page 19 of the new John Deere dealership on Veterans Memorial Boulevard. Environmental services, about 5,000 transactions at the landfill year to date, about $140,000 in tipping fees. We had about 2,400 users at the Household Hazardous Waste Depot this year. There's some information on water main leaks and service repairs. I think in future reports we'll try to have a bit of a year-over-year on some of those environmental services numbers. I think they'd probably be a bit more helpful. In terms of strategic plan, corporate plan progress, continue to work on the official plan review. As of the date of the quarterly report, we anticipated we were going to receive it this quarter. We received it a couple of weeks ago. So we do have the draft text in hand, and that's under review. We did submit an application under the Health and Safety Water System Water Stream Fund for the water plant filters. We haven't received an update on that as of yet. In terms of look ahead, we are on the building side continuing to encourage people to use the online e-permitting portal. We are seeing quite a bit of uptake. We are asking people to use the online booking tool for inspections just to make that a bit more efficient. And I think moving forward it allows us to make use of the capacity that we have and absorb. We kind of set the stage for future growth and having the right processes in place. So we are very interested in that. As noted, we're working on the OP review. We are moving a number of important developments forward. The 100 Gate subdivision's a bit of a standstill right now. They did make a bit of progress this construction season, not as much as we would have liked to see. There are a number of reasons for that. I can't share them, unfortunately, in this forum, but we are aware of the challenges and are trying to work with the developer moving forward. And I'll summarize the comments for our department. Thank you.
Councillor Legree.
Through you, Reeve Emo. I actually have one question for Director Latondras and two for Director Withers. You want me to do them all then?
Please.
So I'll start with Director Latondras. Just with the two ice pads, Dolores and BEI, I see we have the hours there, but I'm just wondering, primetime ice with both pads, and you probably might know this off the top of your head, but I'm just wondering the percentage of usage they're both getting. Are they at 80% and 100% full for just primetime ice? Is that something you can get us? You probably don't have it now, but if you can, I'm just kind of curious to see where we sit with the both pads.
Director?
Thank you, through. I do know, yeah, our prime time is pretty much booked solid, but I will get, I'll have to run, I'll get numbers. I can let you know about the off prime.
Thank you. And then just two questions for Director Withers. So I agree with the key stats, but can we add them to building too? I'd like to see like year over year on that piece too, if possible. And then there's a question on the record management. So are the directors actually like in the basement going through files? Is that what that is? Or can somebody explain that process to me a little bit better, please?
CAO, please.
So through you, Reeve, in regards to the records management, there are several boxes in the basement where the summer students had identified for us that needed someone who understood what was in the boxes to know what they were, to be able to categorize them, determine whether they're past their retention period, code them to the correct retention period, label the box correctly. So each department had been allocated the ones that are based off of their specific duties and tasks that tend to resolve out of each of the departments, and it was assigned to each of the directors to ensure that their department goes through it. There might be certain boxes that the directors themselves are the ones who are actually going through the boxes just due to the nature of what's in the box, but in most of the cases, I believe the directors are utilizing other staff to assist in a lot of those. It's not necessarily a director in the basement for an hour or two on end, but there are some boxes that will have to be, there's even one box that will have to be myself who will have to go through it, just due to what's in it and knowing how to properly categorize the information. In regards to comparators, that was something that I had already, just so that everybody's aware, flagged that our Q4 this year will have comparators to last year, and then all quarters going forward, now that we have a full year of these full statistics, on a quarterly basis, we'll be having comparatives of everything that we provide that quarter versus the previous quarter of the previous year, so that way we can start seeing a trend if there are any.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to kind of understand that as the directors are actually in the basement 5 or 6 hours a week or what it is, but it seems, and this is just to get caught up from previous, then going forward, there's obviously, we put a process in place that this will be electronic.
So through the Reeve, there's several years worth of records management that just due to, and this is common with a lot of municipalities where you have limited staff or limited time, there's other matters that come up, and it just kind of gets set to the side. That's been addressed as a key matter that needs to be updated. We need to be following our retention policy. We need to make sure that we have our documents in a way that we can easily find them when we need them. And so it's been on the corporate work plan for this year, and all the departments have been working through it. So it is basically a catch-up of several decades of records management duties.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Legree, just to make sure I understand, when you said you wanted building the building numbers, what exactly did that mean?
Like permits issued, and just like the numbers, like he has $11 million in construction value between July and September. I'd like to see previous year between the same period of time what that is. Development charges, permit fees, construction value.
Yep.
Permits issued.
Okay, that's what I assumed.
If it's easy to get,
Yeah,
which I'm assuming it is.
That's what I assumed.
Yeah.
Thanks. And next, I believe we move to finance and corporate.
Thank you. So for finance and corporate services in Q3, we have here some of our key statistics, such as taxes receivable, which is at the end of the third quarter. So since then, we've had our final installment. So that will be coming down, and it will be on track with, you can see in the chart there, year over year consistently. We've also been doing learning and training on new software and software implementation, which is a major task for finance that's moving us towards our switch over in our software. While doing that, maintaining routine scheduled services, doing that with stability, maintaining the billings of tax and utilities. We're paying the accounts payable routinely and on time, supporting other departments when they have questions or with procurements and things like that. Myself getting to know the services and levels of service of those other departments and directors and things like that finance can support, and maintaining customer service at the front counter, where we see all our front line of questions and concerns from residents and people that we can help them with questions or concerns they have, who can best help them and things like that, so that they get the answers they're looking for, or find the people who can answer those questions. Of course, we've been working to focus on budget and budget preparation and navigating strong mayor powers along the way. And more recently, it kind of ties in with looking forward. We're going to be completing some debentures that finish up for the 2 projects that we've presented in as part of the budget. That will be happening next week.
And also in there is our routine HR-related activities that occur on a regular base schedule as well.
Thank you, and we'll move to Fire and Emergency Services, please.
Thank you, Reeve, and through you to all of council. This is the Q3 report for Fire, Emergency, and Protective Services. Just a brief overview. We can start with fire department training. Some of the following topics: ground ladder deployment, forcible entry, high-rise, mid-rise operations, auto extrication, fire hose and nozzle operations, and pump operations. Our volunteer crews focused on many of the same topics as well, including water supply operations, small engines, and again, fire hose and nozzle operations. Public education. On July 11th, the town of Renfrew day camp came to visit the fire hall, and while they were at the station, there was some operational details that were shared with them, such as types of emergencies that firefighters typically respond to, as well as some of the equipment and specialized tools that we use. Staff also attended the Tim Hortons Camp Day, and they also participated at the Renfrew Fair, which is critical to promote fire safety messaging to residents and fairgoers. We also focused on sharing fire safety messaging and certain tips. In July, we wanted to highlight fire hydrants and stress the importance of never placing items such as trees and shrubs, plants, or vehicles in front of fire hydrants to ensure that they are never obstructed. In August, we sent some public messaging out in regards to dorm safety for students that are going back to school, just ensuring that they have a safe place to live. Typically, when they're moving in, they don't look at things such as smoke alarms and fire alarm systems. Under inspections and enforcement, the Renfrew Fire Department received several complaints regarding fire safety concerns, including blocked fire doors, wedged fire doors, combustibles in service rooms, electrical circuit overloads, and improper use of extension cords. Our fire department crews are also continuing to develop pre-incident plans for some of our high-risk occupancies. They're also continuing the very important door-to-door smoke alarm program. Under bylaw and parking enforcement, our officer continuously and actively patrolled Renfrew streets. A total of 114 parking tickets were issued between July and September of 2025. This is down slightly from the 170 last year. Throughout the quarter, numerous issues were dealt with in terms of property standards and clean yards, items such as dead and decaying trees, long weeds and grass, and refuse and debris. There are also several nuisance noise concerns that the officer dealt with. Town of Renfrew crossing guards. On September 3rd, the crossing guards began another school year, and of course we want to thank them for their time and commitment keeping our community safe. Under emergency management, again we sent out emergency safety messaging tips, and with the high temperatures in July and August, we wanted to highlight some of the importance of keeping cool in those conditions. Some key stats for fire. There was a total of 65 emergency responses between the months of July to September, and that was up from the 51 calls from the year before. Under strategic plan and corporate plan progress, staff are reviewing and updating the emergency response plan. We've also scheduled the emergency exercise in November. The review of the parking bylaw was also completed. The draft was presented to council in April and passed on July 4th. We're moving forward with some new signage and also some line painting, which should be completed now. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Councillor McDonald and Councillor Legree.
Thank you, Reeve, through you. Directed towards the Chief. With regard to the volunteer crew you talked about, what numbers are we currently at, and are you satisfied with that, or are you looking to increase?
Thank you. Through the Reeve to all of council. Currently we have 12 volunteer firefighters, and I would like to see that increase, probably have a promotion in the new year, and increase to approximately 17.
Thank you. Councilor Legre.
Through you, Remo, I have two questions. The first one, I'm debating on putting a notice of motion in for you to bring back some information on the Firemark program. Have you ever heard of that? Yeah, Firemark program. So it's, well, like I know Arm Prior, and there's a few departments that's involved in it. And it's part of people's house insurance. So if you have a structure fire, the town can actually recoup some money back from the insurance company. But I want to make sure, and they tell me that it doesn't affect the homeowners' premiums, or their insurance doesn't go up. It's something that's already included that a lot of people don't know about. I'm just wondering, just a yes or no, I don't need details, if you know about that program, if it's something we should look at or not.
Thank you. And through the Reeve, I didn't recognize the term, but I am familiar with it. We could certainly investigate that. I believe it's basically back charging the insurance company for costs incurred during, we'll say, a structure fire.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And then one more.
Please.
Just with the ticketing, with bylaw, 56 tickets in 3 months we're down. Is there less patrols, or is it just more people abiding by the law, I guess? Do you know that?
Thank you. And through the Reeve, it's certainly a number of issues. It could be the officer could be tied up for other instances dealing with property standards or clean yards, and may not be as thorough. It's just depending on how busy the downtown core is, or there's really, it's hard to ascertain what the real issue would be.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. We'll move to infrastructure, public works, and engineering, please.
Thank you, and through you, Reeve. So in Q3, Dominion Street, 8th Street, and Mattaway Park Drive construction projects were completed. Stevenson Crescent was awarded to McRae Construction and commenced on September 1st. 7th Street was awarded to McRae as well in Q3. We have ongoing project meetings and reviews to advance our 2026 proposed projects and get projects to a tender-ready stage for the next few years, including Hall Avenue, Monroe, Harry, Opiongo, and the Hall Avenue extension, and the Mattaway Drive, Opiongo Road connection projects. In Public Works, one of our plow trucks had sandblasting and repairs. There was ongoing road maintenance, including shoulder and gravel road grading, pothole repairs, and street sweeping. There were minor sidewalk repairs. Road signs and posts were installed and repaired. Brush was cleared around the signage. Electronic speed signs were moved, and the new parking bylaw signage and line painting was completed. Our mechanic completed annual vehicle safety inspections, and there was ongoing landscaping work throughout Q3, including grass cutting, whipping, tree trimming, and downtown horticulture, including watering of the flowers. For key statistics, a substantial number of dead or problematic trees were cut and removed over the summer. There were 25 water meter replacements or installations. There have been 283 repair orders completed by our mechanic this year to date, with several in Q3. This includes vehicles and equipment for public works, fire, landfill, and recreation. And a total of 128 access E11 cases were resolved up to the end of Q3, several being in Q3 as well. For our strategic plan and corporate plan progress, we are prioritizing infrastructure renewal. Our draft 2026 capital budget was prepared, including infrastructure assets, and staff are working on a 10-year forecast. Our look ahead includes a continuation of our 2025 projects, finalizing prior to 2026, preparation for our 2026 projects pending budget approval, prioritizing necessary repairs or upgrades to roads and infrastructure, tenders for capital budget approved equipment, posting our out-of-service equipment for sale on GovDeals, and preparing for the winter. Our Asset Management Steering Committee met in August and are planning to meet again shortly, and our Public Works staff participated in the Winter Patrol training course. Thank you.
Thank you. If I might ask, what is E11 cases, access E11 cases? What is that?
Through you, Reeve. It is our online complaint and comment system. Yeah.
I had seen it somewhere. Thank you. Councillor Legree, please.
Through you, Revimo, and this might be a question for the CEO. So I believe the Ontario announced $10 million in pothole prevention, I think this past Monday, for small towns under 10,000 population. I think we get up to $38,000. I'm just wondering if that's something we're looking into, or?
CEO, please.
So through you, Reeve, that is information that was received by our office and immediately forwarded over to the director. The director has been already starting the process of looking into what it will take for us to be able to apply or be able to apply it to our operations here to hopefully provide us some additional revenue for activities that we're already doing, or to maybe do some much needed activities that we have not been able to finance previously.
Thank you.
Okay, and next we'll move to, Legislative Services and Council Relations, please.
Thank you, and through you, Reeve. So with regards to our department activities, under the clerks, we are continuing to move forward with our 2025-2027 implementation plan on records management. Our records management policy is currently under review, and IT has been engaged to set up digital folder permissions to transition our digital records to the Tom RIMS classification for all the departments. Our records management student hired from May till August completed the inventory and categorization of physical files in the basement up into what could be classified. And a total of 560 boxes have been identified through file retention for disposal. So we're looking closer to the end of the year, if not early next year, to get those fully disposed of. Accessibility, we've had a successful transition of the marriage modernization to the provincial platform. Updates from the users have been successful and highly impactful, as kind of evident of our surge of license requests over the last couple of months, as well as weddings being conducted here at Town Hall. Staff are still engaging with the province to incorporate a death registration under the similar platform to speed up efficiency and process. There's been a number of key policies that have been brought forward, and with regards to our policy schedule, I guess, and we've undergone both the procedural bylaw and a few that we're still undertaking and will be brought forward in Q4. Elections, active and tabulator voting system, and that was in collaboration with 7 other municipalities. We have been undertaking a number of municipal freedom of information and protection of privacy requests, so FOI requests. Those are ongoing, and we've been in full compliance with the legislative requirements. With regards to strong mayor legislation, we continue to implement the strong mayor legislation that has come in effect since May 1st, and we're undergoing the development of processes and templates as it relates to budget, bylaw, mayoral decisions, and mayoral direction. We're hoping to have a more clarified process that can be identified for Q4 so that it's very transparent. In regards to communications, we are continuing to be committed to information sharing across all platforms. Efforts have been focused on ensuring both internal and external communications reach a broad range of residents, and that's through our radio advertisements, social media, our B-City app, and the town's monthly newsletter, digital signage, and local newspapers. Our department remains committed to growing the B-City app usage and newsletter subscriptions so that residents are able to receive real-time notifications and timely updates. So I think that's really important and something that we're continuing to push, and hope council is getting the word out there as well. Revenue generation for that quarter for communication specifically includes $675 on digital sign sponsorship. So this is something that we've been growing and are kind of glad that it's starting to get some momentum, as well as getting some multi-year and event partnerships and title sponsorships for some of our main events. So that's great to announce, and we've had a lot of success, especially with our craft beer and our Monster Mash event. And then the town's also partnered with the Ottawa Valley Tourism through the County of Renfrew for a larger audience and information sharing as it pertains to town events and initiatives. So with regards to key statistics, so a number of things between July 1st and September 30th. We've had this not so great news of 99 death registrations, but more happier, 58 marriage license. We've had a number of marriage ceremonies here, lots of meetings, so regular council meetings as well as special council meetings and our ACTEV. We've had over 26 bylaws created and brought forward for council's adoption. Well over 90 hours of search and preparation time. And again, that's just from the July 1st to the 30 for FOIs. During that time, 250 boxes of records were inventoried, and we established 3 new working groups. With regards to communications, we've had a number of radio ads go out for some of our major events. We're continuing to do our newspaper ads and our community roundup. We've had a couple of surveys released with regards to seeking public opinion on services and budget. We've had our newsletters go out for July, August, and September. Again, I talked about the B City app notices, so we have a number of those that go out on a regular basis. And just noting for the social media, again, using our platforms, we've had almost 400 of our posts shared on Facebook, Instagram, and a number of the other social media platforms. So again, we're trying to get that engagement and get people kind of actively participating in sharing good news and accurate stories. With regards to our strategic plan and corporate work process, we're getting there on records management. This is a multi-year program, so we're kind of at the 30% mark. Our modernization on vital statistics, for marriage only, we're about 95% complete. We're just looking for the updates in the fees and charges bylaw that are coming forward. Our standardization process for meeting agendas, minutes, and video recordings, we're about halfway complete. Our records management bylaw, about 75, and then we had our structured town hall. So we were just at the stage in September. We were still in the process of planning, but as you know, that event took place in October. And as we look ahead, we will continue to work on files. We will continue to do our training and get things ready in time for the elections. We are undertaking the council code of conduct, which I'll speak to later on tonight. We had our town hall event. Our communication engagement officer is working on the 2026 communication strategy and action plan, and identifying key signage for wayfinding improvements, both here at Town Hall as well as the MyFM Center, and is working with the departments to implement that fully. So that's kind of a quick recap, plus all the other things.
Okay. I attended the Remembrance Day services on yesterday, and I have to really commend the Legion and their volunteers. It was a great service and well attended despite the unpredictable weather. I then went to their dinner last evening as well, to bring remarks. They received a $10,000 check from the branch 148 auxiliary, and they're putting that in their furnace fund. That auxiliary is also giving them $500 a month for the past year to put in that fund as well. So it was quite an accomplishment. The meal was awesome. It was scalloped potatoes and ham, so if they do that on a regular basis, I'd be there at least once a week. But nice atmosphere. They honored a bunch of their longtime volunteers and longtime members, up to 50 years, some of the people. John Watt, who is a retired Army officer, he received a Ontario award from MPP Billy Deneau. He was nominated for an award, and I don't have the right terminology for it, but it's the Ontario Veterans Service Achievement Award or something like that, and it's only for veterans who contribute back to their community. So Mr. Watt has been quite active in the Poppy campaign, quite active in setting up Remembrance Day services, and he also is a conduit for veterans who need services. He helps them find the right services for their needs at this point, and he does visits at home, and which is quite remarkable given that Mr. Watts is about 82 years old, so he keeps a very active life. And just before, so I'd like to have mentioned join the town of Renfrew and the downtown Renfrew BIA on Saturday, November 28th for Light Up the Square. As we light the tree in Low Square and officially kick off the holiday season, the celebration runs from 4 until 8 p.m. At the same time, downtown Renfrew will come alive with the Heart of Renfrew Market, where you can shop for unique gifts, enjoy live music, and even visit with Mrs. Claus. If you would like to register as a vendor, please contact Wanda at the BIA, and we look forward to celebrating the start of the holiday season with you. And again, just a real quick reminder, I know most of us know this and are waiting with bated breath, but join us on Friday, December the 6th at 5:30 p.m. Float registration is free, and all parade details are available on the town's website and social media channels. We encourage everyone attending to bring a donation for the local food bank to help support families in our community this holiday season. And this is, I'm going to move with council's indulgence, so don't shoot the messenger and hear me out, if you don't mind, please. So what I'd like to, because it's community events kind of, is suggest to you that I'd like to postpone tomorrow's meeting for the budget committee and move it to Monday, with the understanding that by motion you give me or direct me to speak to the mayor and ask for him to issue a mayoral decision which allows this committee, the budget committee, to exist beyond 11:59 p.m. Monday evening. If he doesn't extend those terms, our terms, then we dissolve. Staff at that point are not able to do anything with the budget. It just sits there dormant. So I think we heard tonight that we have some work to do, whether it's to rethink how we're doing it or to take the information we have and re-examine it through a different lens. But I think there's a path forward for us. We just need a little more time, and so with your permission, by motion, we'd have to suspend the rules to direct me to speak with the mayor and ask him to come in and issue a mayoral direction to extend our timelines, which still meets the timelines of the February, but to have the budget in by February 1st. So I'm open to questions, and that sounds pompous. I'm open to questions, and I'll have some of our staff answer them better than myself.
Reeve, to you, are you putting a motion on the floor for us to vote on and then have questions, or what would you like?
I can't. I was just suggesting what kind of a motion I'd be open to. Councillor Legree, please.
Yeah, I totally, sorry, through you, Reeve, I totally agree. I think we need some more time on this, so I would put the motion on the floor that you speak with Mayor Sidney to see if we can get our timeline extended.
Okay, I will maximize that timeline. Do we have a seconder? Councillor McDonald? So the motion is to suspend the rules of our procedural bylaw and to put forward the motion that I'm directed to speak with the mayor to ask him for a mayoral direction extending our term as a budget committee.
So moved by Legree and seconded by,
Yeah, Councillor Legree and Councillor McDonald.
to suspend the rules.
Just suspend the rules first? And then, okay, I'm sorry. All right, motion to suspend the rules, you've heard. All in favor? Opposed? None? It's carried. Thank you, Council. And then next is the actual motion, which was made by Legree and McDonald again, to direct the Reeve to speak with the mayor, ask him to issue a mayoral direction which extends the terms of reference for the budget committee, allowing for a longer period of time to operate.
Okay.
Okay. So, yes. Further discussion? Councillor McDonald, please.
Thank you, Reeve, to you. I think it's a very good idea. Are we formalizing a cancellation for tomorrow's meeting?
Well, that was going to be my next. I was going to do another motion for that because I'd like to keep it clean, because just for history.
Thank you. Okay.
If that's okay. Because some of this stuff can get gnarly. It's 6 months out. Any further discussion? Okay, and I think that it's a wise decision based on what we heard tonight. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you very much. With that, I would accept a motion to postpone Monday's meeting, or sorry, the meeting tomorrow on November the 13th, and hold it prior to the meeting on Monday, November the 17th. Mover, Councillor McDonald, second, Councillor Legree, and discussion. All those in favor? Whoops, I'm sorry. Where are we?
Sorry, through you, Reeve. I just like to ensure confirmation if that meeting of tomorrow is being postponed until the 17th at 9 a.m.
I was my apologies. I was thinking 9:45, and then we could hold it and have a quick conversation and close it, and then move to the regular Monday meeting.
Okay, so being postponed till Monday, May 17th at 9:45?
Yes. Is that okay with members
Will we
of council?
have quorum?
Okay. All right. Further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. Thank you for that, Council. I recognize we've really had to work. I'm sorry, Councillor McWhirter.
I have a motion. I was going to call for suspension of the rules. While we're in suspension of the rules, I'd like to put my motion forward.
Okay. Well, we'd have to do a second one.
Okay. So
Sorry.
afterwards. Thank you.
Sorry. Okay. So thank you, and we'll try and get Monday's meetings organized, and I'll speak to the mayor tomorrow morning and start working our way through this. Thank you. Do you want to do this under somewhere else, or is it about this?
It's all right. We're under suspension of the rules now, so I'll just stay there and put my motion through.
You have to do a separate motion, if you don't mind, to suspend the rules.
Okay, so I'll call for a suspension of the rules.
You have to identify through your review. Sorry.
Yeah.
You'll need to identify why you're looking to suspend the rules so that council
So I can put a motion on the floor for vote to discuss a vote.
You'll need to declare the topic of the vote.
Oh, under section 239, personal matters about identifiable individuals, including municipal employees.
Okay. So are you asking us to hold a closed session?
No, I'm going to put a motion forward to go to a closed session on the 25th. Would you like me to do the motion?
Oh, I'm
'Cause
sorry.
I'm kind of piecemealing it here together. Why don't I just do the motion?
So it's not about tonight.
No,
It's to add it to the 25th.
I just wanted, yeah.
Okay. So the agenda for the 25th, I'm sorry, is that the?
Yeah, for 5 o'clock.
Okay. So let me, CAO, please, do we need a motion, or is that something we can determine?
Before we get to that, we do have a close scheduled for the 25th. I believe it's at 11 a.m. right now. Is it something that can be done at that time? Or, sorry, before we go too far into creating then a 5 o'clock meeting as well, can it be added into the one that's earlier in the day? Or?
Yeah, I thought because you moved it to 11 o'clock from 10 o'clock, you had a full agenda. But if you don't, yes, absolutely, we could add to.
I think we have 3 items, but I can't remember now off the top of my head, but okay.
What discussion is?
Okay, yes, if you wouldn't mind sitting down with the CAO and I after the meeting, just to figure out what the topic is generally about, and then we can figure out if we can put it on for the 25th.
So I could go ahead and do my motion?
No, I don't think so, because the agenda for the 25th hasn't been set. So if you...
No, but I'm making a motion to put this on the agenda. for a closed door.
But what I'm suggesting to you is we already have a closed meeting on the 25th, so it's just a matter of adding this to that agenda because the agenda is not posted.
And I'm fine with that.
Okay, good. Thanks. We're on the same page. You don't need to make a motion on this.
Yeah, well, for discussion, I do, yes. I have to make a motion on this to put it on the agenda and what it's about.
Okay.
Do I not?
I don't believe so, no. Because it was going.
I think I do.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead, please.
So there's a couple ways that this can be done. So a confidential notice of motion can use the same notice of motion forms. And so if we physically get that, you wouldn't have to do it now, but it would just be automatically included in that closed meeting into the agenda process. The only concern is if you put too much information right now, you have to be careful that you're not releasing any of the confidential pieces that are the reason that you'd need to go into a confidential meeting. But you could do a notice of motion today to add it to the end. We would go into that closed meeting. I don't know what the cleanest way is on this, but
I can do the motion, and it's not going to name anybody or anything like that. Can I just go ahead and do the motion, or no?
Okay. No,
it's my understanding that I can do the motion. Just so you understand, I did get legal advice on this, and I was told to go ahead and put the motion through. I had a right to do that. It's concerning reviews, performance reviews for the director and the CAO. So, can I do my motion, or I understand that legally I am allowed to do that?
Councillor?
Reeve, towards you, do we have to put it onto the floor first to vote on it? Like we haven't voted on the suspension of the rules to discuss it, right?
We were trying to get a sense of what it was first before we did that. Okay, yes, you can. So ask for suspension of the rules now. You've given us generally what it, enough of a hint that we can figure out going forward. So ask for the suspension of the rules. Okay, and so there's a mover, and we have a seconder. Councillor Legree. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you.
Can I do it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It'll be brief. Put forward a motion that Town Council convene to a closed-door meeting at the start of our closed-door meeting Tuesday, if that's your wish, and to discuss the CAO and Director's annual job performance review. As per Section 239, personal matters about identifiable individuals, including municipal employees, and deliver a report to the Mayor with that review, including recommendations. I so move.
Okay, seconder. Councillor Legree. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll move to Committee of the Whole, E, that Renfrew Town Council convene as Committee of the Whole to consider reports for recommendations to Council. Mover, Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor McWhirter. Discussion, and that is at 7:38 p.m. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. And we move now to E.2.1. That Committee of the Whole received this report as information and endorsed the 2025-2026 Heritage Work Plan as proposed. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor McDonald, second. Councillor McWhirter, and Director Withers, please.
Thank you, through you, Reeve Emo. I think I would take great pleasure in having Mr. Sharon lead this one. He's put a ton of work into the reports, and I can certainly help and fill in the blanks, but I don't want to claim any credit for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Withers, and through you, Reeve Emo. So This is a report that is going to look at the work plan for the Municipal Heritage Conservation Program. A little bit of history and context. The Ontario Heritage Act was enacted in 1975, and it was a response to growing public concern over the loss of historically significant buildings. So it empowered municipalities to protect properties. Following the Act's passage, many municipalities established local architectural conservation committees, which could help with decisions. Renfrew was one. They established a committee in 1977 to assist with heritage matters, and they helped to do certain things, including heritage surveys of specific buildings in Renfrew in 1978, 1979, and 1980, and these are currently held at Heritage Renfrew, these surveys. The LAC Act was active until 1987, when all the members except the mayor resigned over the demolition of Bonington House, which was a designated property at the time. So in 1988, council approved a bylaw, 4288, appointing committee of the whole to be the local architectural conservation advisory committee. Since that time, there's been little formal activity regarding municipal heritage matters until 2017 with the designation of the post office. We have a list of the buildings that are currently designated. Again, most of the work happened between 1979 and 1980. So the rest of the report talks about the Act and what it really means. So what the powers of council are under the Act, which is to designate individual properties under either Part 4 or Part 5, to list non-designated properties on the Municipal Heritage Register. That's for a period of 2 years maximum, as well as some other items. You can also appoint a Municipal Heritage Committee, which has replaced the local architectural conservation committees, and they can advise council on heritage matters and make recommendations for properties for designation, among other things. There's also heritage protections under the Act. So Part 4 is about individual designations, so you're designating an individual property or building. And Part 5 is called a Heritage Conservation District, so it's going to be a group of properties. There is a section on working on heritage conservation easements as well. So the report kind of lists some of the tools that are available to the municipality regarding heritage conservation. To date, the town of Renfrew has only utilized Part 4 designation as the primary conservation tool. There is no Part 5 Heritage Conservation District. And as far as we can tell, there's no available, there are no heritage easements over any property. And the Heritage Register does not currently contain any listed non-designated properties. So what we've done so far in 2025 is we received some funding to engage a heritage planning consultant for support to help us build up the Municipal Heritage Conservation Program. I spent a lot of time looking through the town's records and kind of rebuilding what we had done in the past, and have spoken with Heritage Renfrew about records that they have. So we set up an initial meeting with a heritage planner at NPG Planning Solutions to discuss the scope and objectives in the work plan. Reviewed all the properties currently listed on the Municipal Heritage Register and confirmed what there are. We use the Ontario Heritage Trust to help confirm that. And then we built this plan. So we're still working with Heritage Renfrew to compile and review historical documentation. So we're trying to compare our records with their records and try to figure out what buildings were not included in earlier surveys that may now warrant consideration. A lot of the work done in the late 70s was related to the downtown. We're trying to develop templates for both designations and listing of properties. And we've done a preliminary investigation of 247 Bar Street, 277 Bar Street, and 151 Quarry Avenue regarding listing these properties. And we went at this looking at it from the historic significant area known as Millionaires Corners. So the work to be completed for the remainder of the plan is to publish the Municipal Heritage Register online, which is a requirement, and to develop and post frequently asked questions that about Renfrew's Municipal Heritage Program, just so people can get information if they're asking. We've had 2 inquiries, one about Part 5 conservation districts, and one from a property owner asking if their building was under any kind of heritage designation. They didn't know. So this kind of information would be helpful. And then possibly review bylaw 4288 and consider reestablishing a municipal heritage committee if council thinks that's a good way to go. And then in collaboration with Heritage Renfrew, we're interested in developing a short list of candidate properties for potentially listing and identifying 3 to 5 properties for potential designation with a focus on publicly or institutionally owned sites or private properties with willing property owners. And then another part would be the property owner engagement. It's something that we can't do alone. We got to work with people on the designation process. So then we'd want to narrow that down and prepare formal documentation regarding and statutory notices required for listing and designation of properties. And at the end, all the statutory process does require council's approval. So staff have included funds in the 2026 staff draft budget to advance the Heritage Conservation Program, and we'll continue to collaborate with Heritage Renfrew and local property owners and potential future Municipal Heritage Council members to identify candidate properties for listing and designation and improve public awareness and education surrounding cultural heritage in Renfrew. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Very quickly, Councilor McDonald.
Thank you, Reeve, and through you. Thank you for the background and the foundation now that we have of this information as we move forward. And from what I understand, it seems like we have an active relationship with Heritage Renfrew at this point. I guess my question is, and you spoke about it, staff have included funds in the 2026 staff draft budget, and I think from what I recall, that's been removed, and I'm talking about the $10,000 cut from capital, I believe. That's no longer on the table. How do you see that affecting our relationship with Heritage Renfrew or our ability to move forward? Looking for an opinion, whether it's from you or the director.
I think we'll let the director go first, if that's okay.
Yeah. Thank you, through you, Reeve. So it's going to limit our ability to move the work program forward. The funds are substantially to support the peer review component that's required in order to actually be able to defend a designation or a listing that's put forward. Essentially, you can't just put any report before council or as justification for listing or designating a property. It has to meet criteria under OREG 906. Has to be, which is under the Ontario Heritage Act. It has to be done a specific way, and so. Short of having a consultant actually do all that for significantly more money, the $10,000 allows us to do a bit more volume with us doing the lion's share of the work, and then having those documents reviewed by a qualified person. If council ever wanted to move forward with what we call hostile designation, so you have an unwilling property owner of, hypothetically, we haven't identified one of these yet, but a very significant property that's owned by someone who doesn't want it designated, but council really, really, really wants to designate it, we would at that point recommend that the whole shoot and match be prepared by someone that's credentialed, a CAP member, Canadian Association of Heritage Professionals, and but we're not at that point yet. So this $10,000 is just to support staff in undertaking our work plan. So long story short, if we don't have the funding, it is going to slow us down. Thank you.
And I think just to clarify, Heritage Renfrew did ask us for some operating funds, and we had reduced it, but there is still some left, just so that they don't, if they happen to be watching this, they don't get upset unnecessarily. Any other questions or comments? Councillor McWhorter?
Would it be an option just to go with option 2 to postpone or the timeline? Change the timeline for implementation, like push it out?
Mr. Withers?
Yeah, thank you. So I guess maybe to back up a little bit. So we did have $7,500 in the budget for 2025. To do some heritage work. So what you have before you tonight, as far as Millionaire's Corners, that's paid for through 2025's budget. 2026 is really just for further work. So anything you're looking at tonight under the next report, that's not really a budgetary item. That said, looking forward for listing, say, we want to do 8 to 10 properties, short list, and then, or a long list, then get it down to, if it was 5 to 8, short list, and then, we want to designate 1 to 3 properties. That work is substantially 2026. That's what's going to be slowed down. So the stuff that we have tonight, and we can maybe get a bit more work done before the end of the year, we'll see what we can do in 2025.
Supplementary?
Through you, Reeve. So this program that we're looking to implement, it doesn't force owners to declare their building heritage, because I know it can put a real constraint when you go to sell a building, like a home or something, especially to a contractor who might want to turn it into an apartment or something. I don't feel that council should be telling people what to do with their homes. As long as this program works with the homeowner and he definitely wants his home to be part of the heritage, then I'm good with that. But I don't want to be a council that forces people to change whether they want to or not.
Thank you, through you, Reeve. So we don't have any direction from council to pursue designation of any properties of unwilling property owners at this point. We would be looking for people that are looking to coordinate with the town on these projects. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Any further questions? With that, I'll call the vote. It's about this report being information you'll recall. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. Recommended action. The next motion is that number 1, that Committee of the Whole recommend to Renfrew Town Council that the following properties be added to the Municipal Heritage Register as listed non-designated properties. A, 247 Bar Street, roll number 474800003503 100. B, 277 Bar Street, roll number 4748000, 3502-800. C, 151 Corey Avenue, roll number 4748000, 3513-700. And number 2, that subject to listings of the properties, staff be directed to issue notice of listing of the properties to the registered property owners in accordance with the requirements of the Ontario Heritage Act and such other notice as may be required. And 3, that subject to listings of the properties be investigated as part of the Heritage Work Plan for potential designation, including consultation and collaboration with the property owners, noting that investigation does not imply eligibility for designation, or that council will proceed with designation of any properties. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor McDonald, second. Councillor Legree, and Director Withers, please.
Thank you, through you, Reeve. So, following on the heels of the previous report, this is the first set of properties we are bringing before you for consideration for limited, in this case, protection under the Ontario Heritage Act. The process is the merits of listing these properties this evening, and then we issue notice to the and they have an opportunity then to come back to council and say we would like demolition. Okay, so these buildings, if they are listed, would not be able to be demolished without council's, I should say, they get a 60-day reprieve. So if someone hypothetically came in, if these properties are on the register and they want to demolish one of these homes, then council would have 60 days to determine whether it would like to actually designate the properties under Part 4 of the Ontario Heritage Act. If not, the demolition permit is issued. So this is really just giving a 60-day cool-off period to these properties if you decide you would like to list them as non-designated properties. And Glenn will mention that you then have 2 years to decide whether you actually want to designate them under the Ontario Heritage Act. And if you don't, then after 2 years they come off of the register, and then there's a period of time that you can't deal with them anymore under the Ontario Heritage Act. The idea is that this is kind of step one to decide to potentially designating these at some point over the next 2 years. Okay, so with that, I'll hand it over to Glenn, if it would please council. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Charon, please.
Thank you. So I'll start with 247 Bar Street. So the format was done in consultation with the consultant that we used, just to make sure we capture the correct information. So when we're looking at listing a property on the Municipal Heritage Register, it has to meet one of the criteria in 906. The 3 properties we're looking at today are at the corner of Quarry and Bar, and an area that's known as Millionaire's Corners. So basically, based on this report, we are looking at recommending listing Bar Street on the Heritage Register. Again, there is a 2-year time limit that will expire if nothing is done with it. The property owner should be consulted on the matter of listing on the Municipal Heritage Register within 30 days and about the heritage designation process. And then at that time, we would be investigating to see if it meets the threshold of heritage designation under Part 4 of the Ontario Heritage Act. And to designate it, it has to meet at least 2 of the 9 criteria on Regulation 906. So there's kind of a higher threshold for designation than listing. So the table of contents for all the reports is the same. Property description, property history and ownership, property, building, physical description, associated maps, drawings, plans, and photographs, any surrounding context, comparative buildings, then our heritage value assessment and recommendations, and then kind of supporting resources that we used preparing the report. So the first part is just to make sure everybody's aware of the property that we're looking at. So we do have a map of the property, a 247 bar. The second part is really what we were looking at for listing, which was the property history for these properties. We weren't really looking at the buildings themselves for the listing. We want to make sure they had enough history before we move any further in the designation process. So 247 bar. The early history is kind of secondary. It was likely built by Reverend Father Rougier, who's associated with St. Francis Xavier Church and the Catholic Separate School, and St. Anne's Convent that was next door at 277 Bar. MJ O'Brien ends up purchasing the house sometime around 1894. Again, I haven't found the actual transaction, but it is in the biography done by the Youngs on MJ O'Brien. MJ O'Brien is a significant figure in Renfrew. He helped secure and build this section of the Kingston and Pembroke Railway. And he ended up being heavily involved in mines and railway projects and local businesses. He built the Opera House, he built the O'Brien Theatre, he owned the textile mills down at the Second Chute, donated the park for O'Brien Park, and donated the McDougall Mill Museum to the town, or his estate did. So very significant figure in Renfrew. He was involved in local politics briefly and then became a senator, also involved in the war effort for raising railway troops. And this is really the focus of the listing, is the strong history of O'Brien with the house and the association with the priest beforehand. O'Brien was also the, I guess, the bank behind the National Hockey Association, so a really significant figure in Renfrew. The house was converted to apartments after 1942. They tore down a livery stable and replaced it with an automotive garage. So the property's gone, went through a major expansion around 1913. They kind of raised the roof, changed the roof, added a bunch of verandas. So it's got a very complicated history, I guess. It's going through a few changes right now as well. So 4 just shows some maps and drawings showing that the house has changed a little bit. These are fire insurance plans that are taken 34 years apart. And then there's a current Google map image that just tries to show any changes to the footprint of the house over time. Some of the photos that are in it show some of the current modifications that are happening right now to resolve some roof issues. So the surrounding context, we get in and we talk a little bit about what was happening around the neighborhood at the time. So 1913, O'Brien does this major expansion in the house. It pretty much doubles the tax valuation on it. He's also building 154 Quarry, which is municipally designated heritage. That happened the same year. 2 years later, he gifts a property to his daughter and son-in-law, and they build a large house on the foundation of St. Anne's Convent at 277 Bar Street. So 1913 to 1916, there's a lot of big, beautiful houses going up on this corner. 151 Quarry dates to 1897, so a little bit before this time. I think I'd have to get some help when I'm really looking at comparative examples of this property, so I didn't list any here. I didn't feel comfortable in it yet. But our heritage value assessment is really on the historical value of it and the association with M.J. O'Brien, and potentially the association of Renfrew's Millionaire's Corners as a whole, although that needs a little more work. So I'm confident that this house does meet the historical criteria of 906 to list on the Heritage Register. So that's the recommendations listed again, and then again, if it is listed, we would consult with the owners of the property and investigate it further to see if it warrants heritage designation, and if it doesn't, it would come off the list in 2 years if nothing was done. And so 9 is just the supporting resources. So for the other 2 reports, they follow the same format. 277 Bar Street was St. Anne's Convent. It was built in 1887 or 1886, opened in 1887 for the separate school board. It was kind of the girls' school to start. And it was pretty formative in Renfrew's early Catholic education history. It was run by a group of nuns. And then in 1910, they kind of consolidated their school, and so the convent became surplus and then was bought by O'Brien, who ended up gifting it to his daughter and son-in-law. And that they ended up building directly on the foundation of the convent, which makes it fairly unique, the property. Again, that requires some investigation. That's a second-hand account, so it needs a little more work before we can certainly clarify that. And then when we look at 151 Quarry Avenue, that is, for 277 Bar Street, there's not a lot of comparatives. There is one on Railway Renfrew Avenue East, and it's got kind of a Spanish colonial revival feel from the clay tile roof. The only other example I could find in Renfrew is one that was torn down, and that was the White House, Thomas Lowe's house. Working at the museum, it's one of the two buildings people talk about the most, about sad to see it being demolished. The other one was the Canadian Pacific Railway Station. Again, for 277 Bar Street, J.L. Murray ends up working for M.J. O'Brien, and he's another large industrialist. He was mayor for the town for a while. So again, the house, 277 Bar Street, has significant historical context that I believe it meets the criteria for 906. 151 Quarry Avenue is a Queen Anne Revival house. It was built by I.E. Pedlow in 1897. I found a reference to the foundation being built on newspapers.com. I.E. Pedlow was a merchant in Renfrew. He also served in federal politics. He had a public disagreement with M.J. O'Brien in 1917 about candidature for the Liberal Party for a federal election. Pedlow was active in Renfrew over 50 years, contributing to the town's development and civic affairs. And he passed away in Renfrew at the age of 93 in 1954. The house has remained a single-family home since that time. It's quite a nice example of Queen Anne Revival architecture. And again, I show, in the report, I show a few comparative examples in Renfrew. The surrounding context is still the same. It's part of that Millionaire's Corners. I'm not sure if Millionaire's Corners includes Pedlow or doesn't include Pedlow. I don't know if it was a reference to M.J. O'Brien owning 3 properties on the corner. So that's something that requires some more research to really understand what Millionaire's Corners meant. M.J. O'Brien was certainly a millionaire. I don't know if I.E. Pedlow was. So again, I'm making the recommendation that this be listed under the Municipal Heritage Register based on the historical context of I.E. Pedlow and its relationship in Millionaire's Corners. Requires further investigation to kind of sort out. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Councillor Legree, then Councillor McDonald.
Through you, Emo. Thank you, Mr. Chereau, for all the background on all these properties. I have 2 questions. My first one, I guess, and it might have been answered already, but so we're discussing these properties with pictures taken by staff. Like, have these property owners been notified that their properties will be being discussed on council tonight with pictures and all that? Is my first question.
They have not. The process is they have to be notified within 30 days after. There is the ability for us to do it beforehand. I guess the question is, should we notify the property owners before coming to council? Yes. So it's a bit of a rough start.
Me sitting here as a councillor,
yeah,
discussing 3 properties with what I classify, and this is not on you, I'm just stating,
yeah,
with 3 close-up pictures of their properties taken by town staff. I think they should have been notified, so that's something we need to look into, I think, going forward. And then my second question, if that's okay, Reeve? Yes. And I don't know if the director wants to take it or Mr. Chiron. So if we approve this tonight, we're just approving that these properties can't be torn down. Am I correct? Because I'm a little confused on it all,
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you.
so with listing a property, what we are recommending is they get listed on the Heritage Register, and what that means is from the day they are listed, they have protection for 2 years that if somebody comes with a permit for demolition, there's a 60-day period where it's delayed, where the town can look at saying, we are interested in designating it, or no, we do not want to move forward with designating it. And then that would allow the demolition permit to continue. So it's about a 2-month delay in any demolition permit that is issued. It does not affect any alterations or anything else, just demolition.
Okay. And just a follow-up, Reeve.
Yes.
And it's up to council or whatever, but I think that we should be reaching out to these property owners tomorrow and advising them that it was discussed in council with pictures and stuff like that. So, and just maybe an apology is my thought anyway, but I'll leave it up to everybody else. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, and Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Reeve, through you. And I agree with Councillor Gree's position. It would have been nice to have notified them first. And again, I understand that's not part of the process.
Yeah.
But with a small town, maybe we can utilize that. I just want you to confirm through you, Reeve, to Glenn, that one of the properties in that square, in that intersection, is already designated. Am I correct in that? These are just dealing with the other three?
That's correct. 154 Quarry is designated.
Thank you. Mr. Withers, anything to add? I saw you looking quizzical.
Yeah, thank you. Through you, Reeve. It's just my face, the regular expression. I'm always thinking about things. So it's always a tricky topic. You notify or not notify. Heritage ends up being something that. It's very difficult to get a sense of, what point do you do something before council gives direction to do something. We'll figure that out. I think we get we understand what's being said, and that just a heads up. We'll figure that out, but certainly appreciate the comments. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm kind of at council's mercy. So what I would suggest is we vote on this first, and then if there's another motion or direction to council or to staff about contacting the property owners, then I think we'd have to take a look at it. Does that make sense? Okay. So you've heard the motion and the discussion. Is there any further questions? Seeing none, I'm going to call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. Now, would it be council's wish to have direction given to staff to send a letter out as quickly as possible, or maybe even a phone call?
Through you, Reeve, I'd put that motion on the floor.
Okay, so the motion would read, if I understand your very succinct request, is that staff be directed to reach out to the property owners as soon as possible, and it may include a phone call as well as a letter. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor McWhirter? Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. And I'm sure, Director, if you could convey the limitations of the Act. Thank you. Next, we'll move to Finance and Corporate Services. That Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council approve the suggested amendments to the procurement policy, and the appropriate bylaw is brought forward. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, second. Councillor McDonald, and Director Hodge, please.
Thank you. Through you, Reeve. So this is a follow-up to the procurement policy review. It's another step. We've ensured there's time to review, and now we've amended some wording. So we've taken 4.1A in the procurement policy, and we've written it to read, for construction capital items of $100,000 or more in accordance with 5D below, the proposed design will be circulated to council during the preliminary design phase to facilitate consultation in advance of a request for tender. And because we had previously discussed preliminary design, we've added a definition for that, and that definition is also here in the report. What we have there is preliminary design is the phase in the construction project where initial concepts are developed into a structured framework. This stage defines major design parameters, assesses feasibility, and develops preliminary plans and analysis to confirm the project's scope, constraints, and preferred design approach before detailed design begins. And with that, the thought is that if that is acceptable, then we would bring an appropriate bylaw forward to complete the policy review. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments from council? Councilor McWhorter, please.
I'm not sure who I direct this to, but through you, Acting Mayor. Based on prior history, would it not be prudent, and I don't know if that's in there because I haven't read this whole thing, would it not be prudent that a sitting member of council cannot bid on a project with the town as some kind of stipulation based on previous problems? Is that in this policy if you're a sitting councilor? I mean, I'm just throwing it out there, but I think it would be prudent to do something like that. I mean, I really feel strongly that a sitting councilor in any position should not be bidding on projects with the town. Even if they declare a conflict of interest, there's always that background. So I think it would be prudent to put something in there for that.
Councillor McDonald, and I'm only sorting this out in my head, so please take your time.
Yep. Through you, Reeve. And I think I understand where you're going with that. So I'm wondering, do we get a legal opinion? Because if we do go ahead with that and we're stopping someone who has a pecuniary interest, do we get a legal opinion? That's where I'm wondering. I'll throw that to you.
Well, and that's what I was reading this over again, and that to me was, do we table this and seek a legal opinion? We table this so it doesn't go forward till we get the legal opinion. Is where I was when I was asking you to take your time. I was trying to figure out a path forward. So that's what I'm thinking I heard. But Councillor McWhorter. So the motion is that council table this policy, pardon me? Postpone this, moving forward with this policy until it seeks a legal opinion on possibly including language about a sitting councillor bidding on contracts. Okay, can I have a seconder? Councillor Cybulski? And discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None is carried. Thank you, Council, and thank you, Director Hodge. Sorry to add more work to your list, but it makes sense to do this. E3.2, that Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council approve the amendment for the rotational deputy mayor remuneration, and further that bylaw for the new term of council be brought forward for adoption. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor McWhorter, second Councillor Legree, and we'll move again to Director Hodge.
Thank you. Through you, Reeve. So once again, a bit of follow-up here in regards to council remuneration for the next term of council. The bylaw will provide specific remuneration amounts for each position of council related to the next term, and when the next term comes, there will also be a deputy mayor, so that's a different position. So the intent of this is to come forward with a specific amount for that. And when you look at the chart under the background, you can see how the chart would read with the positions mayor, then deputy mayor, then councillor. And the bylaw would take effect after the 2026 election. So the option would be to bring a new bylaw to council for adoption, and if that's the option chosen, then that would come forward, and it would be a new bylaw that would take effect after the swearing in of the next council.
Okay, thank you. And discussion, questions? I'll be honest with you, I prefer if it was done in this term, because I don't think it's fair to a new council to suddenly have to do something about remuneration their very first meeting. With that, all those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, council. And we move to E.5.1, that Committee of the Whole received the street sweeping operations. A follow-up report as information. Mover, please. Councillor McWhirter, second Councillor McDonald, and Director Bishop, please. And thank you, Director Hodge.
Thank you, and through you, Reeve. So at the regular meeting of Council on October 21st, Council requested further information to the street sweeping operations report. A secondary motion was passed that directed staff to bring forward bulk costing for street sweeping, as well as the cost of a replacement street sweeper. So for bulk costing per hour for street sweeping for budgetary purposes, the capital cost was included for our current street sweeper, which was $132,000, and that was a 2012 sweeper. It had been projected that the machine would have a total of 20 years of useful life, and we have currently used 14 years of life with 6,400 engine hours. This averages about 457 hours per year. Therefore, the projected 20-year life, in the 20-year life, the machine would get about 9,143 engine hours. So in the first table, I show the cost summary, the bulk cost per hour, and that's a contracted service, and that's a quote that is a local average quote for a contracted fee for a street sweeper. And based on those hours that I mentioned, that would be an estimated annual cost of $68,550 per year. The next table shows a breakdown of sweeping and maintenance labor, as well as parts and repairs, fuel and oil, and capital costs. We show 2023, 2024, and 2025 year to date. These averages were, for 2025, the values were prorated to the full year for this calculation. So we also have a 3-year average, which comes to $58,905. This is based on the average 457 hours of usage per year, and that breaks down to an approximate in-house cost of $129. This is currently cheaper than the contracted out costs. It should be noted that contracted sweeping would likely involve fewer operational hours, so not that 457, which would result in a reduced cost, but would negatively affect the current level of service. In-house delivery provides greater responsiveness and better alignment with community service needs. The levels of service delivery can be considered in 2026. The second request in the secondary motion was to bring forward the cost of equipment with both a used or new piece of equipment. So based on preliminary investigation, a new street sweeper unit was in the range of $500,000 to $550,000. The upper range was included in the 2026 draft budget. This was based on a sole source quote, and through the tendering process, it was expected that we would get a quote lower than that budgeted amount. Upon recent investigation, a new street sweeper was quoted at approximately $430,000, excluding HST. I will note that at the Budget Committee meeting on October 31st, 2025, the proposed replacement of our street sweeper in the 2026 budget was deferred. Accurate quotes for a new unit can be obtained prior to that 2027 draft budget. And a used piece of equipment, it really ranges in price. They're dependent on year, mileage, and hours. So a 2020 Peterbilt sweeper was advertised at approximately $80,000 with 130,000 kilometers and 1,500 engine hours. So for reference, the town-owned sweeper currently has 70,811 kilometers and 6,400 engine hours. So these can vary differently. I did kind of discuss this with the CAO, and we figured that certain sweepers would have in-house small town travel, and some would be contracted where they're actually just traveling distances across to different towns or different areas to actually do sweeping, whereas ours is not traveling many kilometers, but it is actually spending a lot of time on the engine, sweeping just within town. Other newer models that I came across ranged from $300,000 to $400,000 for used. And I have mentioned this before, but a used unit comes with unknown risks and potentially significant maintenance needs. But as I mentioned earlier, this has been deferred, so not to be discussed during the 2026 budget at this time. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Reeve, through you. And I just have a quick question, and it may have been mentioned before, and I missed it. The 2012 street sweeper that we have, was it new at the time? You have a price there of $132,000 with a life expectancy of 20 years.
Through you, Reeve. I believe it was 2 years old. I don't know what the wear was on the machine. Reeve Emo has a comment.
Yes, thank you. I was one of the original brain trusts that put this deal together. We'd heard about a demo street sweeper where, excuse me, whenever a town street sweeper had broken down, this one was airlifted in to cover in smaller towns across Ontario. So we thought we had a deal on it. So we spent significant money in its first 3 years of life, changing some of the brushes and some of the bearings. They seemingly got worn out in its short life. Some of it was covered by warranty, some of it wasn't. I think we saved about $40,000 purchasing it the way it was, but I think we probably spent like $56,000 on it, in the first couple of years. So it wasn't quite as good as we thought it was, and CAO has a better answer.
Just more to add to that, we actually purchased it in 2015 for the 130-some thousand. It was a 2012 unit. So when you're calculating the age of a unit, you have to look at when was it actually originally constructed, because even if you bought it used, you have to take that previous usage into account when you're determining how much life do you still have out of a unit. But.
And Councillor Sobolski.
Thank you. Through you, Reeve. So just looking at the price of $430,000 plus HST, and then going back up to our average costs in comparison to the estimated annual cost. So what would our annual payment be, if someone could answer that quickly, on a $430,000 machine, so we can compare it to what a contracted out cost would look like? Because I see our costs are less, but once we factor in a new piece of equipment and what that scale looks like in comparison.
Okay. Is that that's a number I think we can, do you have that? Or is that a number we could save until we get to budget next year? Pardon me? Sorry.
So doing very quick math of the cost to the actual towns, so taking the $430,000 and the part of HST we do not get back, dividing it by the typical 20 years those machines give you, divided then again by 457 machine hours, it'd be $47.87 per hour, which I believe, I have to go back to the report here, compared to as it was 132,288 divided by 20 years, 457. So compared to $14.47. So there will be an increase of the actual capital cost because of inflation. So it'd be an extra $33. So you'd be looking at 129 plus 33, so 159 compared to $150. Mind you, the 150, was that before HST? Okay, sorry.
So we should have that added in. I'm sorry, Director.
Sorry, through you, Reeve. I just have one comment on that, is that our costs for our in-house unit right now include a lot of maintenance labor and parts. So I think that could be reduced if we have a new unit. So I don't know if that's completely comparable to say it's going to be more, but a new unit would not require all of those fees, hopefully until later in life.
Okay, thank you. So is council prepared to accept this report as information? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Thank you, council. And Councillor Cebulski, if you could forward any other comments to Director Bishop, so next year she has more verbiage. Thank you. Could I suggest to council that we take about a 5-minute break right now? Thank you. So we'll be back at, I'll say 8:45, so I guess 9 minutes. My mic's on. My mic's on. Wow. Welcome back. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to take a break. It's recommended that Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council accept the 2026 committee and council schedule as presented and direct staff to schedule meetings accordingly. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, second by Councillor McWhirter, and we'll turn it over to Director Eric, please.
Thank you, Reep. So under the town's procedural bylaw, in accordance with the Municipal Act, council establishes an annual calendar that identifies regular meetings of council and any standing committees and or advisory committees. The town of Renfrew currently incorporates a committee of the whole structure into the regular meeting of council on both the second and fourth Tuesday of the month, and has one advisory committee that meets monthly based on their terms of reference established through bylaw 15-2024. For the 2026 calendar, council and committee meeting calendar, which has been attached on the agenda and Appendix A to this report, we've gone ahead and kind of identified the dates, again being the second and fourth Tuesday of every month, and also the Economic Development Advisory Committee, which meets on the second Tuesday of every month. I would say that the notable dates that are on the calendar is April 30th, where we have a facility closure and a disruption of service due to an all-staff training day. June 9th, which has been moved to June 16th due to the AMCTO conference that both the CAO and myself will be scheduled to attend. July 7th, we are proposing, based on an extended period of time where council is not meeting in July and August, and I'll explain that a little bit further. September 8th, which will be the final meeting of the Economic Development Advisory Committee until such time as the new term of council decides how they wish to proceed with both advisory and standing committees. October 27th, there will be no meeting scheduled due to the municipal election day held on the 26th. November 10th, which will be the final meeting of the 2022-2026 term of council. And then November 17th, which will be the inaugural meeting of the new 2026 to 2030 term of council. So again, going back, so the proposed July 7th regular council meeting has been proposed because there is an extended break between the second meeting in June and the first meeting in August. It is believed that a 7-week break could cause operational delays should any necessary business arise. So the proposed date would be kind of used as a placeholder. Now, at such time as we get closer to that meeting date, if we find that there's no business to be brought forward, then council can decide at that time to cancel that meeting. And then I would also note that the schedule only identifies regular council meetings and does not apply to any special meetings that are at the call of the presiding officer, the chair of a committee, or at the request of the town clerk or chief administrative officer due to a business that arises. And this schedule also identifies a preferred daytime meeting of closed, which is being regularly scheduled kind of on the fourth Tuesday of the month at 10 a.m. Again, these meetings are canceled in accordance with the town's procedural bylaw if no business is to be conducted in closed session at that time. So as I noted, the attached schedule is as part of the agenda package. It's nice and colorful, and if there's any questions, I'm certainly happy to take any.
Councillor McWhirter.
Through you, Acting Mayor. For June 9th, So for June 9th, would it not be possible to have your deputy clerk do that meeting? I mean, rather than miss the meeting, since there's going to be a span there in August. She's done meetings so far and seems to be doing all right with that. Just a thought.
Clerk.
Through you, Reeve. So I haven't proposed the cancellation of the June 9th, but simply the move of the date. Certainly, if that's council's wishes, the deputy clerk, if she's available, could seat clerk. However, the CAO would also be missing for that meeting. So it's up to council whether they wish to proceed or not.
It was just rather than miss a meeting. If there's something, I'll leave it to the rest of the council. It doesn't matter to me either way. Just thought she did a good job the last time we had her here. So,
Councilor Agree, please.
Through you, Revimo. So there's no issues with the deputy clerk, but I think we've already got it. We just moved it, right? So we're not skipping it or anything. It's just been moved. So and the schedule's been done. So I'm okay with how it sits. Thanks.
Any other comments? Councilor McDonald?
Thank you. Through you, Reeve. With regard to the June 4th to 7th, Alberta, we haven't booked anything, have we? I'm just curious.
Through you, Reeve. I believe, Councillor McDonald, you're referencing the identified conferences. Those are all they are identified conferences that are of interest to both staff and council. They were listed as some of the priority conferences for council to attend. At this time, I don't believe any member of council has put their name forward. However, it is something that we always keep in mind when we're doing the schedule for meetings, because if a member of council wishes to attend, then certainly something we would try to accommodate or identify with the meeting schedule.
Councilor McDonald?
Thank you, Reva. Follow up. So specifically the June 4th to the 7th, this is just for council, right? It's not for staff in terms of training and things to go to?
There have been instances where staff have gone. I'm not sure from the town. Staff from the town traditionally never went to anything. I think that would lead us to some problems. But other jurisdictions, staff have gone to the FCM, so it's hard to say. Okay, any further comments? All those in favor? Opposed? None is carried. Thank you, Council. And next we'll move to that Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council establish a new use of corporate resource during an election period policy, and that staff be directed to bring forward the appropriate bylaw for Council's adoption. Mover, please. Councillor McWhirter, second Councillor McDonald, and Director Aert, please.
So through you, Reeve, the proposed use of corporate resources during an election period policy is being brought forward in alignment with both legislative requirements as well as council policy review schedule. Section 88.18 of the Municipal Elections Act 1996, as amended, mandates that municipalities must establish rules and procedures governing the use of municipal resources during an election campaign period. Specifically, the MEA prohibits municipalities from contributing to the campaign of any candidate or registered third party where contribution includes money, goods, or services. This also includes the use of municipal facilities, staff time, equipment, digital platforms for campaign-related purposes. The MEA defines the campaign period for candidates beginning the date of their nomination is filed and ending on December 31st of the election year, unless extended or in the case of a by-election. The registered third parties, the campaign period begins upon registration and also ends December 31st. These legislative requirements ensure that all candidates and third parties are treated fairly and that the integrity of the election process is upheld. The overall purpose of the use of corporate resources during an election period policy is to ensure compliance with the MEA and other relevant legislation, clarifying expectations for members of council, staff, candidates, and third parties, and protects the town from inadvertently campaign contributions and maintain public trust in the impartiality of municipal operations during the election period. So upon review of the town's current policy, the use of the corporate resources for campaign purposes that was established through bylaw 31-2022, it was evident that several updates were required just to reflect best practices. So in a comparison with other municipalities, I deemed it appropriate to actually establish a new policy, and in doing so, again, kept in line with some best practices and renamed it to the use of corporate resources during an election period. This new policy is now being presented to council for review and consideration, and if adopted, will replace the existing corporate use resources of campaign purposes policy, and will be moved forward with the election.
Okay, questions? Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Reeve, through you, and I guess towards the clerk. Page 4, under definitions, with regard to members of council, and as opposed to identifying the mayor, the reeve, and council, because the reeve's position potentially is gone for 2026, do we just maybe use a bit more generic term, like in terms of council? That's the only thing I thought, as opposed to having to amend the policy later on.
Please.
Through you, Reeve. Good catch. I tried to catch all of those and obviously missed one on page 4 when I was developing. So yes, that will be amended. You'll see other consistency of words of referring to members of council, and that way it also kind of gives a blanketed depending on the position. So thank you and good catch.
Any further comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. And Councillor McDonald gets the gold star tonight. The rest of you, not so much. The rest of you, not so much. Next is that Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council adopt the amended changes to the Council Code of Conduct and Formal Complaint Procedure and direct staff to bring forward the appropriate bylaw for adoption. Could I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, second by Councillor McWhirter and Director Aird.
Through you, Reeve. So at the regular meeting of council on September 9th, that was postponed and held on September 23rd, Renfrew Town Council adopted Resolution 25-09-35, and this resolution directed staff to undertake a review of the Council Code of Conduct ahead of the previously scheduled 2026 timeline, and that the review include consultation with the town's appointed integrity commissioner to obtain legal advice and recommendations for amendments to the policy, the investigation process, and to ensure alignment with current legislation and municipal best practices. The current Code of Conduct, established by Law 5-2019, has been in effect since January 1st, 2019, and while minor procedural adjustments have occurred, no formal amendments to the policy have been adopted by Council since its inception. Under the Municipal Act, municipalities are required to establish a code of conduct for members of council and its local boards, and municipalities are also required to appoint an integrity commissioner to conduct inquiries upon a complaint and to and also complaints regarding the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. In 2018, Renfrew Town Council appointed Tony Fleming from Cunningham and Swan as the town's integrity commissioner and closed meeting investigator for a 5-year term. In 2019, I'll go back. For a 5-year term beginning January 1st of 2019. This appointment was extended through bylaw 98-2024 for an additional 3 years up to January 1st, 2028. Since 2019, the town has transitioned from a senior management model to a CAO model of leadership, and minor legislative changes involving best practices have also been identified. Following council's direction, staff undertook a review of the council code of conduct and made administrative updates related and relevant to the corporation, and a legal review was then conducted by Mr. Fleming, who in his dual role as both the integrity commissioner and municipal legal counsel brings kind of a specialized expertise in municipal ethics and code of conduct standards and the statutory framework of the Municipal Act. He also conducted a review of the town's formal complaint protocol to ensure that there was no discrepancies between past practices and kind of a formalized process that's been adopted. Is being used. So a red line version of the policy is attached to the agenda with notable changes and comments both from the internal review as well as the external. Changes in legislation such as strong mayor powers have been identified and included, and the new CAO model has also been incorporated into the process based on best practices and the structural requirements of a CAO model. There are a number in the report, as I said, also to the red line version, kind of areas that have been updated or identified. Again, sticking to some areas that may have been a challenge to enforce because they're based on interpretation or have been included because of either advice from the ombudsman or, again, challenges throughout the sector of just conduct in general. So as part of this, he also reviewed the formal complaint process and the procedure that's attached as Part B. There's been recommendation both from the IC as well as from the Ombudsman to remove the $150 fee. And this is based on the fact that the Ombudsman has stated and recommended that there should be no fee or barrier in making a complaint to the IC. And also kind of the added identification, which is already identified in legislation, that somebody can apply directly to the IC should they wish further confidentiality to be upheld. Again, this is identified in the Municipal Act, but not necessarily clearly identified in our policy or procedure. And if there's any questions with regards to the updates or any comments, I'm happy to answer.
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Reeve, through you. I'm leaning towards option 2, and I'll give you a bit of the background, specifically because we don't have any reference to any breaches of our town procedural bylaws. So I'd like it to be, this is where I'd like to go, to return to staff and to seek some advice from the Integrity Commissioner. So right now we have a procedural bylaw with a lot of bark and no bite, and a breach of our current procedural bylaw does not fall under the authority of the Integrity Commissioner. I've spoken to the Integrity Commissioner about this issue for legal advice, and that's why I'd like it to be sent back to staff and brought back with references to breaches of our procedural bylaws. And further, I'd like to see if we can have some input with regard to that from council, and perhaps we can deal with both the procedural bylaws and the code of conduct at the same time, because both, I think, need to be modernized. So that's my input.
Okay, thank you. Councillor McWhorter?
Through you, Reeve, and to you, Reeve. I might be wrong on this, but I thought I heard a while ago that they were going to increase the power for the integrity officers to have more bite to his authority. Am I wrong on that, or would you be familiar with that?
I haven't heard that, but I'll pass it to the clerk, who knows more than me.
Through you, Reeve. So right now there are proposed policy updates, and there is advocacy taking place from both AMCTO as well as AMO to bring forward requested updates and stronger and a more standardized approach to the code of conduct across the province. However, at this time, those recommendations are not being entertained, and so we have no current status or timeline, but again, the advocacy for that is certainly continuing.
Okay, thank you. Is anybody else before I'll address your stuff in a second, Councillor McDonald, but anybody else? Okay, thank you. So turn to the clerk and the CAO. So what's being suggested is we postpone deciding on this while we review the procedural bylaw, and then at the same time ask for an opinion on trying to have the procedural bylaw and or violations reviewed by the Integrity Commissioner. Is that how I understand?
Similar.
Okay.
I think option 2, though, captures it. If we, and I'm looking at, through you, Reeve, to the clerk, with what I'm trying to do here is, first of all, let's deal with them both. And I do know some code of conducts do incorporate a formal procedure for procedural bylaws. So that's, I'd like to somehow address that issue, that there's nothing there at this time.
Okay, clerk, please.
Through you, Reeve. So I am aware of some code of conducts that do incorporate procedural bylaw, and I have had some conversations with our Integrity Commissioner about that. We're finding that many municipalities are moving away from the incorporation of the two together because the Integrity Commissioner cannot rule on procedural guidance. So the procedural bylaw they keep very separate. It is up to council and the chair and the presiding officer to maintain the integrity of the procedural bylaw, whereas the code of conduct is more specified within the legislation and in the behavior of behaves in their behaves overall, and the relationship between both council and staff as well. So those a council code of conduct and a policy with regards to staff and council relations are two very separate and identified within the Municipal Act, and they like to try to keep those separate. I have been noting some amendments that probably need to be brought forward in regards to our procedural bylaw. I'm always redlining our current version, just as, things come up and little procedures happen. So for me, that's always been a working document. And certainly over the last little while, there's a number of amendments that I do think need to come forward. I was originally waiting to see how the Council Code of Conduct review with the Integrity Commissioner would go in case there was something that needed to be added to the procedural bylaw. Based on their review and discussions that I have, I think I'm at a stage where the amendments on the procedural bylaw can come forward fairly soon, and again held separately from the Council Code of Conduct, which as he's identified as capturing kind of what's enforceable, what's not left to interpretation, because a lot of behavior might be viewed maybe unbecoming, but at the same time it's based on someone's interpretation. So he's really looking at it on a legal court of law end, is what is upheld or what can be upheld and what is fact versus interpretation. So while I don't discourage council's input, and certainly if they want to proceed with option 2, receiving your comments and feedbacks, I do feel that those should then be put back towards the Integrity Commissioner to ensure that those identified items can actually be enforced.
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Reeve, through you. Perhaps, so I'm sticking with option 2 for now, but as part of that, perhaps we can get input from the Integrity Commissioner, very specifically with regard to if the feasibility of incorporating the procedural bylaw in terms of the Code of Conduct. And so there's 2 parts. That's the first one. The second one is with regard to the procedural bylaws, and do you need a motion, is where I'm going with this. I would like to have council input with regard to that, like in terms of being able to provide the clerk maybe with some things we picked up on. So I'll leave that. So there's 2 different things I'm dealing with, and interested in the input from the clerk.
Clerk, please.
Okay, through you, Reeve. So what's on the table right now is the Council Code of Conduct. I think we need to keep that separate from the procedural bylaw. So should council wish to direct staff to provide input on the procedural bylaw, certainly bring forward a notice of motion or a written notice in time for the next meeting. Either option is fine. Certainly the review of the procedural bylaw would come forward very similar to what most of our policies and bylaws have. So a red line version of any amendments that are being recommended by staff would come forward, and council would have an opportunity to discuss and add any comments at that time. So I will say that process has already been initiated. I'm expecting it to come forward in the last meeting in November, early December, time permitting at the moment, but certainly sooner rather than later, because I do feel that there are a number of things that probably should be adjusted. And then on a process end, on this end, if council wishes to put forward a different option, then they would likely need to vote down this first one and then propose a new option.
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Reeve. And just to tidy up, thank you, Clerk, and I guess we'll deal with this first. What I would like, and I'll throw it to the floor too, I would like an opinion. I'm still sticking with the option 2 that I'd like to go, but I'd like a written opinion from the Integrity Commissioner with regard to somehow incorporating the procedural bylaws and the feasibility of that. So keeping it separate. Yeah.
I would guess then that from your language, you're asking for a motion to postpone deciding on this while there is a definitive legal opinion sought with regards to linking the procedural bylaw and the Code of Conduct.
Thank you, Reeve. And if that works for everyone else, I'm good with that.
Okay, you're moving that, and then, okay, thank you. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Cebulski. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. Thank you, Clerk. And next, we'll move to E7.1. That Committee of the Whole received the Corporate Work Plan Q3 Update Report as information. A mover, please. Councillor Legree, second by Councillor McWhirter. And we'll turn to the CAO, please.
Thank you, Reeve. So this is the basically the partner report to the quarterly presentation that was done at the beginning of the meeting. We provide a regular update to council and the public as to how we have been working towards the various corporate work plan tasks. You will see in the attachment that there have been several that have reached either completion or had some progress throughout the year. There's lots of additional comments as to where next steps are or where certain projects are at. If there's any specific questions, I can answer to them. However, a lot of these updates were also mentioned when the directors were providing the quarterly reports presentation earlier in the meeting.
Comments, questions, concerns from members of council? So the CEO and I have talked earlier, and so some of these that aren't completed, we'll roll through into the next work plan that she's working on now, which she'll present to me. I won't take anything out of it, maybe refine it and add more, and then we'll bring it to you, and then we'll recommend it to the mayor. Okay? So if there's nothing further at this time, then I'll ask for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? None? It's carried. Thank you. That Renfrew Town Council rise from the Committee of the Whole. Mover, please. Councillor McDonald, second Councillor McWhirter. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? None? It's carried. Thank you very much. And F1, external boards. So you'll note that the minutes from the October 14th structured town hall sessions, including posted public Q&As from questions received. So those are posted. My computer's down, so my notes on my Renfrew County Council summary are gone. So I'll answer questions, but I can't offer you anything. I apologize for that. Same with Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus. I apologize again for my electronic problems. H, correspondence items for information, and you have resident correspondence from Ms. McCormick regarding public budget meeting, and you have ministry correspondence for the MMAH amendments to Development Charges Act and Ontario Building Code. Ministry correspondence from the City of Brampton regarding, municipal correspondence from the City of Brampton regarding automatic speed enforcement. Halton Region regarding public requirements, public safety requirements, and also then South Huron regarding Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund. And then the Municipality of Tweed regarding collaborative action on sustainable waste management in Ontario. Is there anything you'd like to pull forward for further discussion? Councillor McDonald, please.
Well, thank you, Reeve, to you. And I'm just wondering, with regard to our local resident, H1, have those concerns been addressed, or do we, what would you like us to do? If we want them addressed, do we direct staff? Do we put forth a motion? Looking for direction.
Madam CEO, please.
So through you, this would follow the regular process that if council would like us to respond, then a motion to direct staff to do so at this time would be when that would be done, and then once that's on the table, we can then proceed with responding to the individual.
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Reeve. I'd like to put forth that motion.
Seconder, please. Councillor McWhirter. Any comments? Okay. Reserving comments for the next one. All those in favor? Opposed? None is carried. Thank you. Are there any other ones that you wish to offer comment on? Okay, seeing none. We'll move to item number I, which is that Renfrew Town Council confirm the minutes of the regular meeting of council dated October 21 and October 28, 2025, the minutes of the special meeting of October 28, 2028, and the closed meeting minutes of September 28, 2025, understanding that they remain confidential. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, second by Councillor McWhirter. Did I miss something?
Through you, Reeve. I just realized an error. I believe that should be October 28, 2025. So the confidential minutes.
Okay, so noting the friendly amendment of October 28.
Administrative correction.
Okay.
I'm sorry, who was the mover and seconder?
McDonald McWhirter, or no, Legree McWhirter. Sorry.
Thank you.
Any further observations? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? None is carried. Thank you. And just before we start, so there's been no changes in these zoning bylaws? Resolutions to them?
Those are all
Okay.
those are all, J1 on the agenda has been brought forward from the Committee of the Whole on October 28th.
Okay, thank you. Recommended action that Renfrew Town Council adopt the final resolutions considered in Committee of the Whole on October 28, 2025. Number one, that Renfrew Town Council approve application number D14-155 zoning bylaw amendment for lands known municipally as 197 Raglan Street South, having a roll number of 47-48-000-055-06300. And number two, the Renfrew Town Council pass option one to update via bylaw the fees and charges effective as of January 1, 2026, as attached in Schedules A to E. Number three, that Renfrew Town Council approve option one, council remuneration for the 2026-2030 term based on the 75th percentile amount as presented in Schedule 1. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor McWhirter, second Councillor Legree. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. And next, we have the bylaws. That bylaws listed on the agenda of November 12, 2025 be read a first, second, and third time and passed. 100-2025, adopt a council correspondence policy. 101-2025, zoning bylaw amendment for 197 Raglan Street South. 102-2025, 2026 fees and charges bylaw. 103-2025, contract agreement with Neptune Technology Group Canada Corp. For water meter replacement program. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, second by Councillor Sobalski. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. Motions which have notice have previously been given. That Renfrew Town Council directs staff to provide a report to council indicating outstanding tax revenue, and due to confidentiality, a closed council report on all properties eligible for tax sale as of January 1, 2026, and all those already in the tax sale process. And Councillor McDonald, you're going to make that motion. And seconder, Councillor Legree. And discussion, Councillor McDonald, please. You have background, or it'll stand by itself?
Thank you, Reeve. It can stand by itself. It's self-explanatory. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further comments, questions? All those in favor? Opposed? None. Is carried. Thank you very much. Are there any other notices of motion? Councillor Legree, please.
Through you, Reeve Emo. At the next regular council meeting, I'll be bringing a notice of motion for Director, Fire Chief, Guest to investigate and bring back information on the Fire Mark program.
Okay, thank you. Any other ones? No, seeing none. Okay, closed session. We don't have any. That Renfrew Town Council adopt the confirmatory bylaw 104-2025, and that it be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed. Mover, please. Councillor McWhirter, second Councillor McDonald. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, Council. Upcoming meetings. Budget Committee meeting tomorrow morning has been postponed. And we have a budget meeting on Monday morning. Is that how I understand it? at 10 a.m.
Through you, Reeve. So the
9:45.
Budget Committee, so the Thursday, November 13th at 10 a.m. has been postponed to Monday, November 17th at 9:45, and then a secondary meeting was scheduled immediately following, which was previously scheduled at 10 a.m.
Thank you. I'm ashamed not to have remembered that. And then the regular council meeting is Tuesday, November 25th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. So with that, we'll adjourn at 9:17. Thank you very much, council, for your patience as we work through all the things that we did tonight, and to staff for excellent reports and your ability to explain them. Thank you.